Malani just before me about providing toilets and so on. So these are also the fundamental bricks which build on empowering women. So social empowerment, economic empowerment, I'll go into a bit of detail a bit later. So what this proposed bill provides for is reservation of seats for women in the House of the People, in Lok Sabha. I've heard some members talk about reservation also should be brought in for the upper house. With the indirect election process and the way in which preference is shown in the voting, it's just not going to be possible to do any reservation. Let us keep that outside of this discussion, although it's well-meant. I mean, the well-meaning suggestion has come in, but that's not going to be workable if it is not a direct election. So this bill actually provides, therefore, for reservation of seats for women in the House of the People, Lok Sabha, and also in the legislative assemblies of every state, and also in the National Capital Territory of Delhi. It proposes, sir, again, people have picked up on this word, but I reiterate it. It proposes that as nearly as maybe 1/3 seats shall be reserved for women. So that's the first two salient feature of this bill. So what it would do is to bring in a new article 330A, which is intended for reservation of seats for women in the Lok Sabha. Second, it also brings in a new article 332A, which proposes reservation of seats for women in the state legislative assembly. Another, which is an existing article, which is 239AA, is proposed to be amended for providing reservation for legislative assembly of National Capital Territory of Delhi. So all these three are happening. It also then intends that there shall be a reservation for women belonging to scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, in respect of the seats reserved for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. So consequential amendments, sir, over and above all this, will also be made to the relevant acts for Puducherry and for J&K. Now, we come to the point on which, again, the previous speaker has gone into greater detail with his legal acumen to say how exactly this is going to be implemented. I'll have a minute on that. As far as the implementation of the proposed reservation for women, the new article 334A is inserted into the Constitution. It intends that after the bill is enacted and after the bill comes into operation, and thereafter that, whenever the first census takes place and the relevant figures for that census are published, a fresh delimitation exercise shall be undertaken, and for the purpose of delimitation of seats for providing reservation for women in the Lok Sabha, in the state legislative assemblies, and also in the Legislative Assembly of Delhi. Now, this exercise of delimitation, sir, will be limited to identifying the number of seats and those seats which are to be reserved for women, and it shall not affect the interstate distribution of seats of Lok Sabha and the legislative assemblies of the state. So we just want to make this absolutely clear as to what this constitutional amendment bill is proposing to do, and the reservation of seats shall cease after a period of 15 years from the commencement of this very proposed law. So this is where I think we are coming up with this constitutional amendment. It also sort of very clearly states that this reservation shall not apply until the Lok Sabha or Legislative Assembly of a particular state or the Legislative Assembly of Delhi is dissolved. So that is the main feature of this proposed constitutional amendment. Is this the first time we are talking about this reservation for women? Not at all. There have been 4 genuinely serious attempts to get this bill through, sir. The first ever attempt was in 1996 on 12th September in the 11th Lok Sabha, where Sri H.D. Devegowda was the Prime Minister. And that bill, which was brought in, was referred to a joint committee headed by Srimati Geeta Mukherjee, who immediately took up the work, and within 3 months, on 9th December 1996, she gave her report, and the bill remained there for almost a year. But because of the dissolution of the Lok Sabha, the 11th Lok Sabha, on 4th December 1997, this bill also lapsed. This bill, one particular feature which I'd like to highlight is this bill provided for rotation of seats reserved for women. So it provides for rotation of seats. So the next one, second attempt made, was on 14th December 1998 by Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government, 12th Lok Sabha. In this, the bill was almost identical to the one which was presented earlier, but a 15-year period was brought in. Now, this bill also lapsed due to the dissolution of the 12th Lok Sabha on 26th April 1999. A second attempt was made again by Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee on 23rd December 1999. That was the 13th Lok Sabha, and then the bill hadn't been pursued at all because they couldn't develop any consensus of view. And again, this also lapsed on the dissolution of the 13th Lok Sabha on 6/2/2004. The fourth attempt, which is the most recent attempt, happened on 6th May 2008. In the Rajya Sabha, the bill was introduced under Dr. Manmohan Singh's government, UPA 2, very identical bill to the one which was previously tabled, which couldn't be pursued in the Lok Sabha. And this bill, which was brought in the Rajya Sabha, was referred to a standing committee, a department-related parliamentary standing committee on personnel, public grievances, law and justice on 8th May 2008 for examination. And it got passed, taken up for consideration and passed in the Rajya Sabha on March 2010, and then it was transmitted to the Lok Sabha on 12th March 2010. It was just transmitted. But till 2014, it couldn't be taken up for various reasons. I'm not here going to go into the detail as to why it couldn't be cleared, but it didn't get cleared, and it lapsed. It is important for us to know that it lapsed on the dissolution of the 13th Lok Sabha on 18 May 2014. So, I may be pardoned if I'm repeating something which honorable members already know. There is no bill which is pending that I have to bring back here to say, we'll consider this one, it's been waiting from then. No bill is waiting. With the dissolution of the Lok Sabha, that bill, which was passed in the Rajya Sabha, but which it didn't remain here, which naturally got transmitted to the Lok Sabha, also lapsed. So there's no bill before us. So empowerment of women in India is not a new thing. I just would like to go back in history to identify a few names which stand out for a lot of proof that is so required to say this civilization always held women high. Now, I'm not going into this thing, did we treat them as goddess? give us equality. I've heard a lot of members say with a lot of concern, we don't want to be treated like goddess, treat us equal. But it is a fact that we have held women very highly, and the women also had the courage to stand up and speak for themselves. So it's not a new thing for us. I'll just give you the example of Satyakama's mother. An Upanishad has been given in his name. He was a bright star. But when he went in search of his guru, the guru asked him, oh, you want to become my student, but who's your father? Would you please tell me? He didn't know the name of his father. He goes back to his mother, Jabala, to ask her, Mama, please tell me who's my father. I have to go tell my guru, otherwise he'll not admit me. And the mother had the courage to tell him, I don't know who your father is, go tell this to your guru. And the boy, in all his earnestness, goes back to the guru and says, sorry, this is the reply given by my mother. And the guru understands the situation and readily admits him for his curiosity. That's the civilization we are talking about. It's not a civilization which treated women of one particular group or another particular group differently. We've treated all women with fairness. There can be differences during the age as we are coming down to today. But that is Satyakama Jabala, and Jabala, the mother, who could tell her boy to go say with pride that no, you'll know your mother's name, but the mother doesn't know the father, and the guru had no objection. Sir, similarly, when Adi Shankara had an argument with Mandan Mishra, there was a debate going on, and who was the judge there? A woman, Ubaya Bharti, Mandan Mishra's wife. Could she have been admitted or accepted as a judge between the two people debating if only there was some hesitation about dealing with women differently? They readily accepted her. She had the scholarship is one thing, but to accept a woman to judge between them two as to who is going to be the victor also reflects that men in India, learned or otherwise, did not have a different idea of woman, and that Ubaya Bharti's example tells us that. There are, of course, 22 women who contributed very richly to our Vedas and Upanishads. I'm not taking each one of their names. Gargi and Lopamudra stand out. Similarly, I heard members this morning also recall from the south eminent fighters, warriors. I also will name Abhay, who was a great, simple two-line aphorisms from her, always enamors all of us. Karakal Ammayar, who was a great bhakti saint. She's treated as a Nayanmar. So in India, women have had a role in literature, a role in very many different situations. Women warriors, sir. Rani Abbakka, Kitturu Chennamma, Velu Nachiyar, Rani Gendunlu, Lakshmi Segal, and of course Jhansi Ki Rani. All of them, I've just taken a random list. So is their prowess in science. E.K. Janaki Ammal was one of the earliest scientists of India. Asima Chatterjee, Anandi Ben Joshi, Anna Mani, and Darshan Ranganathan are all women of eminence in science. So we've had this culture of allowing women to do whatever their aspirations lead them to do, and we've respected it. Of course, as they say in Hindi, Vikrutiya have into the system. We'll have to cleanse that, and efforts are being made. Now, in this, I want to highlight, sir, that the party that I represent, BJP, has been consistent in its support for women's reservation. BJP held its national convention in 1994 in Vadodara, and there very clearly stated that we stand for reservations of women reservation for women in the parliament and also in the state assemblies. If that was in 1994, 1998, BJP reiterated its commitment for women's reservation by introducing it in the Lok Sabha, which I just mentioned a while ago under Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. In July 2003, BJP held a national executive in Raipur in Chhattisgarh, and there they passed a resolution seeking 1/3 of all Lok Sabha constituencies to be converted for reserving for women. Progressively, that opinion has been refined now that in 2007, in the national executive, it approved 33% reservation for all organizational positions within the party. And in 2008, sir, BJP amended its constitution to provide 33% reservation to women in its cadre posts as well. And let me take this opportunity, sir, in all humility, to thank my party. I am one of the beneficiaries of this reservation for women that I am here today, and I thank my party for having given me that opportunity. So BJP has been consistently supportive of women's reservation, sir. I remember those days were early days for me as a party spokesperson, but the now lapsed bill, which was passed in Rajya Sabha in 2010, late Sri Arun Jaitley supported it passionately in the Rajya Sabha, and it was passed in the Rajya Sabha. Of course, when it transmitted to Lok Sabha, it didn't get through. So BJP has been absolutely steady in its support for women's reservation, and this morning I heard some honourable members also refer to some very picturesque moments when Honourable late Srimati Sushma Swaraj had waited outside the Parliament House, received Brinda Karat, the Honourable former member of the Rajya Sabha, and they both hugged each other in joy that the Rajya Sabha passed the bill and it is now the turn for Lok Sabha. So there was a complete, across party lines, a sense of wanting to achieve this. And today we remember late Sushma Swaraj, and of course even today the activists and also former members of parliament who have all been pursuing this agenda. To further this point, sir, 2014, prior to the Lok Sabha election, BJP's manifesto, the Sankalp Patra, openly said that BJP is in favor of bringing reservation, 33% reservation in parliament and also in the state assemblies. So did 2019 Sankalp Patra. So just as Article 370 has always been in BJP's manifesto, so is women's reservation always been in BJP's election manifestos, be it 2014 and now be it 2019. Sir, Sankalp se Siddhi principle, which Honourable Prime Minister follows very earnestly, is also proven by the fact that everything that which is mentioned in the Sankalp Patra is taken up to the level of achieving, that is, Siddhi tak, Prapt karne tak, we follow it in earnestness. I also heard some members this morning talk about you were paying attention to Article 370, you were paying attention to triple talaq, but you didn't do this women's reservation. I like to take this opportunity to say through you, sir, Article 370 has a very big women's component in it. Inter alia, you didn't allow women to hold property in J&K. Is it not important for them to have that honor back? They have, after all, been born there. Well, if they married somebody else from anywhere else, how right is it under Article 370 to deny them ownership of property? Is that not important? Therefore, when we restored the normalcy and also removed Article 370, women, SC, ST, Bakarwals, all of them get their rights. That is why Sankalp se Siddhi principle of Honourable Prime Minister makes complete sense. And between 2014 and today, these are the kind of achievements to empower women which have been happening. Similar is, I heard our Honourable National President Sri Nadda speak about triple talaq this morning. Is it triple talaq is not in A country, B country, C country, all of which are Muslim-dominated countries. But in India, it took us a whole process of going through the courts and again politically convincing our people and then bringing it in. But Prime Minister Modi did not hesitate. He said, if that has got to be done for giving the rights to the Muslim women, we shall do it. So triple talaq also happened. So Nadda ji clearly explained, we don't involve or indulge in appeasement politics. But it is important for us for restoring the rights of women, because in women-related matters, sir, and I can say with complete confidence, in women-related matters, we don't play any politics. It is an article of faith for the Honorable Prime Minister, and therefore we do everything that we've done, whether it is Article 370 or whether it is triple talaq or looking at now Women's Reservation Bill. All of it is part of our manifesto anyway. So between 14 and 19, I shall not spend too much of a time, because yesterday all of us heard Honorable Home Minister speak in the Lok Sabha. He listed out the various measures which have been taken by Prime Minister Modi for social empowerment, for economic empowerment of women. I'll just very quickly flag off a few of them, sir. Ujjwala for smoke-free kitchen, 9.59 crores of people have been given free connection, and 200 rupees subsidy per cylinder, and newly we are adding 75 lakhs more connections. Swachhata Abhiyan, providing a dignified life for women, providing toilets to them. 11.72 crore toilets have been built in this country. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao has actually helped in restoring a fair balance between gender, because gender asymmetry prevailed all over the country. I heard Honorable Member Thambi Durai talk about how there was this cradle scheme which was brought so that children, as soon as they are born, being girls, are not killed. And that was a step some time ago taken in Tamil Nadu. Many states have done many such steps in order to restore that parity in the gender, in the sex ratio. Sir, Prime Minister Modi's government is the one which gave from 12 weeks of maternity leave to 26 weeks of paid maternity leave for women. These are empowering women. What were we doing between 2014 and 19? These were the things which we were doing. So we didn't forget for a moment empowerment of women. Water to the house for health reasons. Otherwise, they were spending hours going miles to get drinking water. 9.82 crore new connections of Nal Se Jal, Gar Gar Jal has been implemented. So I won't go further into that list of social empowerment and the economic empowerment. But I certainly will take a few more minutes, a bit of considerable time if you would permit me, sir. Empowering women, there cannot be a more substantial measure than finding them in the armed forces. I list out the kind of things Prime Minister Modi has taken to get women have that equal treatment. Many of our honorable members saying, treat us equal. We don't want you to do puja or treat us like goddess. No. Can there be a better place than the three armed forces, where we have brought women to be at par with men, and they stand there clearly? I'll give out the list, sir. All wings of the Indian Armed Forces have women in combat roles now. Women are allowed in combat services and in supervisory roles. I'll start with the Central Armed Forces, paramilitary forces. In 2016, Prime Minister Modi's government took a historic move, decided to reserve 33% posts at the constable level for women in CRPF, CISF, and to begin with, 14 to 15% posts at the constable level in the border guarding forces such as the BSF, SSB, and ITBP have been brought in a phased manner. That's equality. That's treating men and women equal, literally in the uniformed services. Similarly, sir, admission of girls in Sainik schools, unimaginable, because there was so much resistance. No, you can't do it. Admission of girls in Sainik schools, with effect from academic session 21-22, girl cadets have been admitted in all existing 33 Sainik schools. That was clearly a step which was taken as a decision by Prime Minister Modi's government. Indian Army, sir, has opened up entry for women candidates in the National Defence Academy. You know how prestigious that center is. And it is one of the male domains which you could never breach. But today it has been opened for female cadets. 19 cadets, including 10 for Indian Army, joining academy every 6 months. Women candidates, women cadets. Sir, permanent commission is also being granted to women officers in the armed forces. You may think that it is only in the armed forces medical corps, or it's in the dental corps, and so on. No. Or it is in the nursing service. No. Over and above that, now women are being given permanent commission in the armed forces as women officers. Sir, similarly, Indian Army has opened up avenues for women officers to serve as pilots in the Corps of Army's aviation. So flying the helicopters for the Army is done by women now. Women officers are also being considered for colonel rank and are being given command appointments so they can lead commands. Also, sir, there are other ranks which are also getting into the core of the military police in the Indian Army, which has been introduced from 2019. So is the case with Navy. I wouldn't want to read each one of those steps, but today, whether it's Army, whether it's Navy, or whether it is the Air Force, they are all being treated at equal with men. Agniveer scheme, sir. I was very happy to hear Honorable Member Sumitra Balmik. Is she here now? Yes. She mentioned it, sir. Women are getting recruited as women Agniveers. I was going to mention it, but I was glad to hear it from another member of this House. From the first batch itself, we have women Agniveers. So now, without taking more time on talking about the larger issues, I'll come to responding to some of the members who have raised some issues where I wish to explain. Some members, Ramnath Thakurji, K.C. Venugopal, Priyanka Chaturvedi ji, Phulo Devi Nettam ji, have all raised this issue about, you came to power in 2014, why have you taken 9 years to bring this bill? I think I've explained it, that we've spent a lot of time and attention on delivering on social empowerment and also on economic empowerment. In the meanwhile, you also saw how they have been empowered to get into the armed forces and the central armed paramilitary forces as well. Explanations and details with facts have been given by the Home Minister yesterday in Lok Sabha. Women have become now job creators. 29 crore women have also benefited because of the Mudra scheme, where 70% of all beneficiaries are women. So there are several schemes which has helped women to come up to some level. That's what we've been doing since 2014. Then there was this question, I think in general, several members have raised, saying, why a special session for this bill? Sir, that simply we've come into new complex, new building for Parliament, new India. We would like this Parliament to deal with one of the best bills that it can deal with, where all of us agreed. And I'm glad to say this. I thank from the bottom of my heart for the consideration that all the parties have shown, irrespective of the little reservations they may have, questions they have in their mind, for extending support for this historic bill and this new building as a first bill. Handling this bill is, I think, a very good start for a building which is being built for the next 100 years for the country. Even if delimitation is going to come up with newer members, there's enough space to accommodate a lot of new ones. Sir, it was a bit disheartening to hear some members say, oh, this bill is a jumla. This is a very catchy word. A lot of people love using that word. But no, whoever said it, I'm not particularly naming the members, it is not a jumla. This bill is not a jumla. I want you all to please attend to the points that I'm trying to talk. And the context in which the Home Minister said, I think has been well understood, but it's convenient for us to use jumla again, no? So we forget the context in which Honorable Home Minister said it. So the legal process, no, thank you. That was misunderstood, or you're interpreting it differently. I don't want to get into it. Now I'm talking about the Women's Reservation Bill. Legal processes which need to be adopted for enabling this provision has been defined and described by a legal luminary, but I will certainly repeat it for us to know, and I'm sure many of our senior members here will appreciate that without amendments as regards UTs and without the delimitation happening, and delimitation process is a quasi-judicial process. It needs an appointment by law. It needs a Supreme Court judge to retire to head it. It needs members from the Election Commission. It will also have member representatives from every party, recognized party. So it is not a exercise to push the decision further, but once we pass this, and once the states also pass their respective law, is when this, and in the meanwhile, census taking place, with the number or the figures of the census notified, the ball sets rolling for a delimitation commission to come into play. So, unless we do it, and in that, I'll get into the detail why this 2026 stands out for us. Why 2026? Why can't it be earlier? I'll try to explain it as well. It is not something which we have done it. We are carrying a legacy where delimitation dates have been frozen, not once, frozen twice, and for long periods of time. I'll get into that. But with these handicaps or with these realities before us, it shall not be possible to implement it now in 24 itself. Our intention is clear. Clear it all up. And once the census is over and the delimitation sets rolling, you're going to have it the moment it is finished. So, no jumla ma'am, whoever said it, but truly it's going to set that course which was very clearly from a legal side explained. It also says, one of the discussions this morning, sir, saying, why did you have to bring it now? You're going for an election, you're probably worried about the election. No, as I said earlier, it is an article of faith. Whether it is now, whether it is all the 4 times when it was brought to this House, every time BJP has supported the bill. Even that time when it was brought into the Rajya Sabha by Dr. Manmohan Singh, BJP stood out to support the bill. So why would there be any hesitation in our mind? So I just want to be sure that the points that has been raised by some of the members are addressed. Sir, before I get into talking about the delimitation details, I want to pick up on Sri Binay Vishwam, who seems to have forgotten the bill and said many other things about, where are the women? Why did you want to form a separate organization aside from RSS? Why do you need a Sevika Samiti and so on? They are 100-year-old organizations. All of us know how they are involved in public service, particularly when there is a disaster, a cyclone, a flood. Man and woman are there first. Unclaimed dead bodies, they do the cremation or, as per the law, whatever process for the ultimate end rituals. They are completely dedicated for social service and keeping people together. And if that is worrying the honorable member about why the women have not been taken in RSS.
Please, honorable member, I have not given you a flare. Please sit down. No, don't do it. Please.
Sir, why should they be a separate organization? Why they cannot be part of RSS and so on? At least there is an organization keeping all the women working together at par. If you don't mind me, sir, and if you'll allow me this little bit of indulgence, and with the honorable member not taking any offense, because he's spoken quite a lot, I'll rather respond with just one fact. Let me ask him, how long did it take for former member Brinda Karat to get into the Communist Politburo? To get into the Politburo, how long did it take for Brinda Karat? Nobody else. It was public debate. It was a public debate to say, Communist Party, you don't have one woman in the Politburo. And it's not as if you don't have women at all. Poor Brinda Karat had to fight away. And now you're talking about RSS and Sevika Samiti? Please. Sir, I heard honorable member Kapil Sibal, sir, talking about Finance Commission cannot allocate resource fairly till the census takes place and so on, and that we are using a old census because I'm talking about, he referred to Finance Commission, I'm also referring to that. But the idea was that the census, old censuses are being used. I just want to tell you, sir, it was Prime Minister Modi who, after forming the government, said 2011 census data was first used for the 15th Finance Commission, whose period is now current, 2020 to 2025. Till before that, that is prior to that, since the 7th Finance Commission, till the 14th Finance Commission, which is before us, before 2014, that is 8th Finance Commission for the finance period 1979-2020, have used the census data of 1971. 71 census has been used till 2014, and Honorable Member Kapil Sibal worries that we're using 71. No, sir. From the 15th Finance Commission, which is holds currency, which runs between 2020 to 2025, 2011 census is already being used. So I'm sorry, I want to just correct that perception of Honorable Member. All the earlier finance commissions have used 71 census figures. Sir. We have updated it. So I'll just quickly go to talking on the readjustment of seats, sir. It's not a problem that we have created. It's not a problem that we suddenly, realize. I would like to trace back as to why readjustment of seats has to go through a particular process, and it's not new problem today. I'm not saying it's a problem, but it is a situation which was created long time ago. I'll just tell you that Article 82 provides for readjustment of seats after each census. So as per this article, sir, seats of Lok Sabha allotted to the states, as well as division of each state into territorial constituencies, will be readjusted after each census. It provides restriction that such readjustments shall not affect the representation in Lok Sabha until the dissolution of existing Lok Sabha. Just the core facts before us. In 1976, and this is where I'll draw the attention of the honorable members. In 1976, the 42nd Amendment of the Constitution inserted two provisos to this article. 42nd Amendment inserted two provisos, which are under Article 82 and 173. First proviso provided as to when readjustment shall take effect, and the second proviso provided that readjustment shall not be necessary until a new census is done and its figures are published after the year 2000. In 1976 till 2000, delimitation was kept frozen, thanks to the 42nd Amendment. So that during that emergency, the infamous thing which happened, 42nd became a basket case where you put everything, Adobe's list, and passed it all. When the emergency extended period, the Lok Sabha, after completion of 5 years, ran the 6th year and did all this. So the 42nd Amendment froze it till 2000. Thereafter, this freeze till the year 2000 was amended in 2002, the 84th Amendment, and the year 2000 was replaced by the year 2026. So the 2026 is not somewhere coming out of our imagination. The freeze in readjustment of seats has happened in 76 up to 2000, and in 2002 it has happened as an extension till 2026. So, as first census of 2026 will be undertaken into 2031, until that period, there will be no readjustment and seats shall remain unchanged, is the position. Now, what we are trying to tell you here, therefore, is after the census now, which can start from early 24 in all probability, it will go, and once the census is completed, its announcements are over about the findings of the census, the report of the census, then the delimitation commission can be set, and it will do its job not just for the Lok Sabha seats but also to the states. Then the reservation comes into implementation. So I won't spend more time on that, sir. There's one more response I want to give. Shri K.C. Venugopal had mentioned that what happened in 1989, I'm not repeating or quoting his words, broadly, what happened in 1989 when Rajiv Gandhi introduced reservation bill for women in local bodies. Entire BJP gang, if I'm wrong with the expression or words, you may correct me, entire BJP gang opposed it. Stalwarts like L.K. Advani, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Ram Jethmalani, etc. opposed it. So I just want to go back to actually what happened then. 1989, it didn't get passed. Opposition was there, a lot of opposition happened. Then, of course, as I said, even at the very beginning, it moved to 1991-92, and in 92 it got passed. under P.V. Narasimha Rao ji. But what actually happened then? BJP gang? No, I'm sorry. There are others who, it's very interesting to see. Sir, because the center-state relations at that time, and I'm purposely bringing this element, was such that it was felt that the Panchayati Raj plan clearly aims at depriving the states of power to manage their own local bodies. This was the narrative which went into the opposition's minds. Chief ministers like Sri Karunanidhi, Jyoti Basuji, Devi Lal, and Sri N.T. Rama Rao, all of them made it clear to Sri Rajiv Gandhi that this was an issue which required a national consensus. So it's not the BJP gang, sir. All states were standing up to say, sorry, you're taking away our powers. And I'm quoting here, sir, Sri N.T. Rama Rao, as reported in a newspaper. If you want, I can always leave this authenticated copy. Said Sri N.T. Rama Rao, let the Prime Minister, I'm quoting here, let the Prime Minister seek a fresh mandate from the people on this issue and then amend the Constitution. Sri N.T. Rama Rao said this about that Panchayati Raj bill. Again, sir, I will add, sir, Ramakrishna Hegde ji said, quote, and I'm reading it exactly as the quote is before me. Rajiv now wants to run the villages from Delhi. We won't allow encroachment on the rights of the states. That was Ramakrishna Hegde, sir. Then Saroj Mukherjee from CPM, sir. It's not BJP gang. I'm telling you about CPM also. The CPM's Saroj Mukherjee said, and I'm quoting here, sir, any attempt to reduce the power of the state in the area of local self-government would be resisted, unquote. So, sir, when you don't have a record to justify your center-state relations, and I also do remember the GST debates, you promise something to the states, you don't fulfill it, and the states don't have confidence in your word. GST didn't happen during the period. Whereas that's the confidence Prime Minister Modi could give to the states, and therefore GST was implemented by us. Center-state relations. Center-state relations is a topic on which somebody who used Article 356 to remove state governments so many number of times, more than 90 times, should not speak at all. Sir, just one last point. Such one last point. Lot of people, sir, lot of people.
One second.
Sir, you want me to sit down?
Yes.
Sir? No, you want me to sit down, sir? Sorry, sir. You want me to sit down, sir?
I request you to...
Is this because you want to give them peace? I just want to say something to you, sir, in case you want them to be accommodated for giving explanation or clarification. If it's not preposterous from my side, would you permit me to just say that's exactly what my respected leader of the opposition objected to yesterday when we were timely getting up and saying, no, factually wrong, you're factually wrong, we want to say. I would want to cultivate, sir, let me finish. I would want to cultivate a habit. And I'm telling you, I would want to cultivate a habit for myself, sir. I'll keep quiet. I'll hear every speaker And when there is an objectionable comment made, or when there is a factually incorrect statement made, after they finish, I will seek your permission to stand up and rebut it, provided they are here to listen, not if they are walking out. So please, sir, it's a two-way street. Now that you're saying, I'll sit down.
No, please conclude. Honorable Finance Minister, please conclude.
Can I?
Please conclude. I'll come.
Sir, just the last 2 points, sir. Just the last 2 points. So there's been a lot of question on why is it that we won't be able to do the OBC like the way we do the SC reservation or ST reservation. There is no specific mention of electoral reservation in the Constitution for OBCs as it is mentioned for the SCs and STs. That is why this bill, which brings in the amendment to have a 33% reservation, deals with the general category, deals with the SC category, which is provided for by the Constitution, and deals with the ST category, which is provided for by the Constitution. So there is no ambiguity in our mind. So the last point, which is a bit of a disappointment for me, which is a very worrying thing for me, I seek your indulgence and allow me to say this, which is really not what I want. Leave me, but I'm sure many of us wouldn't want that in the upper house. So this morning, I heard insinuations passed against the Prime Minister and Honorable Home Minister. Initially, I didn't think it was meant for them because it was very metaphorically said about, some men came, they carried money bags, they were also with money, media, muscle power, and misogyny. Sir, I would want this to be finished, and anyone who has an objection can please speak after that. So, when it was metaphorically said, two members came to Bengal, men came with money, media, muscle power, misogyny, and mocked the Chief Minister. I was just plainly hearing it. I didn't think I got perturbed. But I'm happy that you've already said, substantiate it. Sir, I'm glad you said substantiate it. And I thank you for it on the assumption that if it is not substantiated, it will be expunged. But why am I worried about any reference to any two men? I shouldn't really be worried, right? Agreed. That's how I thought it was. But when somebody from here objected to that comment, and finally when it was not permitted, and the honorable member was allowed to speak, he used the names. And if I can recall the lines that he said, sir, he looked at you and said with aggression, sir, if whenever I take the name of Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah ji, I get under their skin, is what he said. Now, if the two-man reference was without any name, I will not be bothered. But when somebody protested it from here, the true thought was betrayed. The true thought was betrayed. And the true thought was Prime Minister's Modi name and Amit Shah's name. Whenever I take it, which is what the honorable member said, whenever I take it, I get under their skin. So everything ties up. Everything ties up. I would humbly request you, sir, that that document be provided here. corroborated, substantiated,
I'll look into
if the money, muscle man and the media have come, or else apologize and the remark be expunged. Thank you very much.
Take it. Honorable members, One second. Take your seat. Honorable members, take your seat. Please take your seat. Take your seat. No. Don't do it. Nadimal, don't do it. You are not in a forest area. You are in this house. I'll look into it. Dola Sen, madam, I'll look into it. Sit down. Honorable members, after a long gap, if I take my tenure of 1 year, one second. Honorable members, please. Honorable members, I express my deep sense of gratitude for memorable, stimulating debate with emotive. I'm coming to that. Can't you have some patience? Can't you have some? What gives you the impression I will not give you the floor? Don't see a ghost in every dark corner. I am expressing something that after a long time, we have had very involved debate. Every member of the House has contributed. Every member of the House has been insightful. It has been very stimulating, emotive, intellectual exposure was also there. There have been differences which are to be there in democracy, commendable contributions from everyone. And I have listened to the input by everyone. There have been acerbic comments. There have been sarcasm also. There has been wit. Humor was lacking. Venugopalji, humor was lacking. You need to make up for it. Normally I should call Mr. Arjun Ram, but leader of the opposition seeks to make an intervention. Now, I had said a year back that when it comes to leader of the opposition, leader of the House, Prime Minister or former Prime Ministers, I would show extra consideration. I am therefore allowing leader of the opposition to make an intervention. Okay. It's a good suggestion, sir. Good suggestion. Sir, very reasonable suggestion. But thoda hans kar kahiye, sir. Yes. So before leader of the opposition takes the floor, Mr. K.C. Venugopal, but I will make Mr. K.C. Venugopal, 1 year. You will do it palatably, humorously.
Yes, sir.
Am I right?
Yes, exactly.
And mind you,
Sir,
if
exactly.
the Honorable Finance Minister has reacted to your statement, you should be happy and delighted. Take it as an accomplishment.
Sir.
2 minutes.
Sir, Honorable Chairman.
2 minutes.
I don't know what happened, Honorable Finance Minister, by saying like this. What I say is very clear. Whenever this 1989, the 64th Amendment has been taken by the Rajya Sabha. After passing it in the Lok Sabha, the BJP members, including the stalwarts, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Lal Krishna Advani ji, Ram Jethmalani ji, Jaswant Singh ji, they voted against. Sir, this is the 1 minute. The question is, this is the proceeding, sir. The question is that the bill for her to amend the Constitution of India, 64th Amendment, passed by the Lok Sabha, be taken into consideration. The voting is private. Then Lal Krishna Advani voted no. Atal Bihari Vajpayee voted no. Jaswant Singh voted no. This is only I told, sir. Your stand is very clear. Then why Honorable Finance Minister putting the responsibility on other party's shoulder? I am asked about her party stand only. She has to clarify that stand, BJP stand. I didn't ask.
So,
Sir.
so it's happy ending, one point of view, another point of view. Yes, obviously. It is at the suggestion of the Honorable Leader of Opposition that I gave opportunity to Mr. K.C. Venugopal. Sir, your intervention.
सर
और सर, आप दिल मिला दोगे, सबके दिल मिला देना. आपने देखा होगा,
माननीय
नहीं, मैंने लेफ्ट में ज्यादा देखना शुरू कर दिया है.
अभी देखे साहब राइट को ज्यादा देखते
ना ना ना, मैंने लेफ्ट में देखा है.
अब वॉट एवर इट में लेफ्ट राइट छोड़ी है. सर माननीय सभापति जी, मैं आपका आभारी हूँ. आपने मुझे संविधान 128 संशोधन बिल पर बात करने के लिए इजाज़त दी. मैं इसके समर्थन में ही खड़ा हूँ और ये बिल को संपूर्ण सपोर्ट करता हूँ मेरे दिल से. और मेरी पार्टी और इधर के सभी लोग, इंडिया के सभी लोग हार्टिली इसको सपोर्ट करते हैं. लेकिन मुझे थोड़ा 2 दिन पहले ही मालूम हुआ ये बिल आने वाला है. कैसा सर? 4 सितंबर 2023 को आपने जयपुर में कहा था, 4 सितंबर को क्या कहा था? वो दिन दूर नहीं जब संसद और विधानसभाओं में महिलाओं को उनका उचित प्रतिनिधित्व मिलेगा. ये यानी ये आप तय किए थे कि आपको मालूम भी हो गया था और इसका प्रचार आप वहाँ जयपुर में कर दिए. तो अब इससे बड़ी बात क्या है कि अगर सरकार का ही हमारे सभापति जी अगर बोले तो हमको भी लगा कि ये बिल आने वाला है. लेकिन मैं ये चाहता था कि महिला मेंबर्स बोलने दो, उधर इधर के सभी, कोई भी पार्टी के हो, इसीलिए मैं ज़्यादा इसमें बोलने के लिए आपको प्रेशराइज नहीं किया. थोड़े से शब्दों में बोलूँगा. लेकिन जब उत्तर देखा, मैं नियरली 50 मिनट यहाँ पर मुझे फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर का रिप्लाई सुनने को मिला. तब मैंने ये सोचा आपके स्पेशल परमिशन लेके मुझे भी थोड़ा वक्त दीजिए ताकि मैं कुछ शब्द आपके सामने रखूं. सर,
Please listen to the leader of the opposition.
सर मैं इससे
The
शुरू
Honorable
करता
Finance
हूं.
Minister was heard with rapt attention.
सर
Please.
सर मैं एक कविता से शुरू करता हूँ.
सर, आपकी कविता बड़ी गंभीर होती है.
नहीं,
मेरे यहाँ आने से पहले आपने ऐसी कविता पढ़ दी कि पूरे देश में मेरे को लोग पूछने लगे.
नहीं, आपके लिए
ऐसा मौसम आएगा, सदा सताएगा.
नहीं, मैं आपके लिए नहीं, आपके लिए नहीं, किन्हीं के लिए, ये इस बिल के ऊपर ही बोलूंगा.
ठीक है.
कोमल है तू कमजोर नहीं, महिला कोमल है तू कमजोर नहीं, शक्ति का नाम ही नारी है. जग को जीवन देने वाली मौत भी तुझसे हारी है. सतियों के नाम पे तुझे जलाया गया, मीरा के नाम पे जहर पिलाया गया. सीता जैसी अग्नि परीक्षा भी हुई, जग में अब तक जारी है. जग में अब तक ये सारी चीजें जारी है. बहुत हो चुका, अब मत सहना. बहुत हो चुका अब मत सहना, तुझे इतिहास बदलना है, कोमल है कमजोर नहीं तू, शक्ति का नाम नारी है। तो इसीलिए इस शक्ति को और हम बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं, सभी लोग सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं और सभी सपोर्ट में सभी ने बात किया। सर, मैं बहुत से पहले से बहुत आंकड़े भी लाया था, लेकिन समय की कमी रहने से मैं बोल नहीं सकता, क्योंकि उन्होंने जो अचीवमेंट बताया अपने, क्या क्या अचीवमेंट हो गए, वहाँ पर होम मिनिस्टर बताए, वहाँ पर अपने लोकसभा में, यहाँ पर फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर बताए, लेकिन हमने क्या किया वो भी मैं बताना चाहता था, लेकिन मैं वो नहीं चाहता, क्योंकि ये बिल स्पेशल है, महिलाओं के लिए है, स्त्री शक्ति के लिए है, इसीलिए इसमें मैं डेवलपमेंट लाकर मिक्स करके उसको खराब करना नहीं चाहता था, क्योंकि बात किधर की हो रही है और बिल के ऊपर होना चाहिए और जल्दी पास होता था। लेकिन उन्होंने ये किया, गैस दिया, रोड दिया, फलाना सब चीजें आ गई। अब ठीक है, उनको बोलना था वो बोल सकते हैं, लेकिन सभापति महोदय जी, मेरे को एक ऑब्जेक्शन इसमें है। इस बिल का क्लॉज 5 कहता है कि आरक्षण तभी लागू होगा जब डिलिमिटेशन एक्सरसाइज पूरी हो जाएगी। इस बिल का क्लॉज 5 कहता है कि आरक्षण तभी लागू होगा जब डिलिमिटेशन एक्सरसाइज पूरी हो जाएगी। डिलिमिटेशन भी जनगणना प्रक्रिया के पूरे होने के बाद कराई जाएगी। डिलिमिटेशन भी जनगणना प्रक्रिया के पूरे होने के बाद कराई जाएगी। मतलब महिला आरक्षण से पहले 2 अनिवार्य शर्त रखी गई है। एक जनगणना है, दूसरा डिलिमिटेशन है। ये होने तक तो ये इम्प्लीमेंट ही नहीं होगा। और